Do you spend every waking moment fantasizing about meeting your true love? Do you sometimes feel a bit upset with yourself for thinking about it that much? Do you sometimes feel desperate to the point that the end of your fingernails are all chewed up as you stare across the coffee table at this gorgeous guy who just sat down with his skinny latte, undressing him with your eyes, only to refocus your attention on a different guy you spot 2 minutes later who you straight up just want to marry? Maybe you picture yourself falling in love with everyone you make eye contact with, or daydream about your life with the cute waiter you saw 3 weeks ago. We've all been there, and you want to know something? Even though I'm in a relationship, I still sometimes dream about those exciting, dreamy and romantic moments when you are still single, imagining the what ifs and would be's from the sea of possibilities. My biggest problem with the search for love, the kind of search when you just want it so bad you feel like you glide through the air, batting your big dreamy eyes at every guy out there, is that this kind of desperation for love can actually get in the way of you finding something real. So instead of trying to figure out to snap up this guy, catch this one or that one, you should figure out how to stop wanting a relationship, because if you do that, it's actually far more likely to happen. In a way, it's kind of like the stories you hear about pregnancy. There are thousands of perfectly healthy couples out there that want to have a baby so hard and so much that it never happens, or at least it takes far longer than what they expect. They plan their sex, her ovulations, adjust their diets according to his sperm count, and generally just go full on ballistic into stress mode every time there is the right moment for conception. And in the end, quite often, it's exactly the desperation, the stress that stops it from happening. So today, I'm going to help you with that and share a few tips on how to let go of the fantasy of a relationship so that the real one comes to you. Keep dating. You don't need to put your dating life on hold to stop wanting a relationship. Just look at it from a healthier perspective. Take off those oxytocin goggles and put on the estrogen glasses instead. You don't need a relationship or a partner to be happy and to have everything in life you've ever wanted. So stop dating in such rapid, desperate ways. Instead, take your time and just enjoy getting to know new people. You might not end up dating, or at least dating with the purpose of hooking a guy into a relationship, but you'll have spent time with someone different and you might get a great friend from it. Oh yes, that can actually happen. The less pressure you put on a date, the more likely you're going to relax and enjoy it. You'll have more fun. You won't worry so much about how you come across or who you come across. Sometimes it's good to just go out and have fun for the sake of the enjoyment of the night, whether alone or with friends, with no special purpose or mission other than just being in the moment, having good food and maybe a drink, getting lost on the dance floor with your eyes closed, moving in perfect harmony with your favourite song, being yourself for yourself. And if by any chance someone interesting comes up to you, it's far more likely that you'll either be able to connect with them faster or be able to dismiss a potential romance faster as well, because you'll be fully present and able to see things objectively. When we're too invested in the end goal of a relationship, we often convince ourselves that red flags don't exist, or that we like the person way more than we actually do. Keep being yourself. When we get caught up in wanting a relationship, we throw away all our effort into becoming the best version of ourselves so that another person likes us. And yes, being the best you is not a bad thing. None of us are perfect creatures, and any effort towards self-betterment is great. We should all strive to be better versions of ourselves, but we should also know why we want to do that. So stop doing this. We've all been there, but it doesn't end that well, partly because you'll never be able to fully relax and be yourself, but also because then it gives the other person unrealistic expectation of what you're really like, and means that they fall in love with the idea of you rather than the actual you. This means that they'll be surprised when the facade eventually slips, and trust me, it inevitably will. But worst of all, they never actually get a chance to truly see how great you are, who you are, and appreciate all of the good and bad parts that make you the unique individual you see in the mirror every day. And if you really, really think about it, the right guy never gets a chance to meet you because you'll be too busy pretending to be someone else's perfect match. Sure, be polite, have good manners when eating, cut back on the cursing, and make a little effort to be positive, whatever being a better person means to you. Just don't try to paint a picture of yourself that doesn't reflect reality and will never exist. Similarly, a lot of us crave the special person in our lives and stop trying to fulfill ourselves because we're convinced that this other person will do all of that for us. This is obviously not a very realistic expectation. No one person can be everything we need in life. And if you keep on doing that, every person you find eventually will end up disappointing you. So cultivate an amazing life of your own. Eventually, you'll start to see a partner as a bonus rather than a be-all, end-all you dream about every day. The right person should just slot into your life and add to it, complement it, rather than being the essence of it. Keep busy doing things you love. Stop being so desperate for love. When it comes along, you'll be in a healthy place to enjoy it rather than being desperate for it and settling for anything less than you actually deserve. Be realistic about past love. This is a hard one. We all have moments of reminiscence when we think about a certain moment or people, especially so when we're single. We think back to our past loves, those special moments, and our minds make them even more special. Endorphins are a bitch. If this is something you struggle with, you are not the only one. In order to stop wanting a relationship, be honest with yourself about your past relationships. A lot of us convince ourselves that our exes were amazing, that they were our one true love, that we had an amazing time with them all of the time. Realistically, however, there were ups and downs, as in any other relationships, and what more, there is a reason you're no longer together. If it was all that amazing, and surely you'd still be together right now. So remind yourself of these things so that your fantasy relationship is no longer on such a pedestal. The more we think about the perfect relationship, the more desperate we become to find it and more rushed and unhealthy decisions we make. Instead, remind yourself that your life is great when you're single and that you only want to be with someone who genuinely makes you happy, which means letting go of your romanticized version of past relationships. Fill in the gaps. Think about what you're craving from a relationship and find a way to fill that void. Company? Friends are great. Date nights? Take yourself for a fancy dinner. Cozy night in? Sofa time with your friends or pets. So I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this, but in all seriousness, there are so many ways to fill these kind of voids, which will help you detach your need for a relationship, or at least take your mind away from craving it like crazy. You can get so much comfort, attention, and affection from loved ones that are already in your life. Hell, if you want to have sex, you can just go ahead and engage in some occasional one-night stand or less serious fling. And I know, it's not the same as having a boyfriend or girlfriend, but it should help calm that desperation for a little while at least. It will also make you appreciate just how much great stuff you already have in your life, which will help you realise that a partner is an addition to an already full life and not an end destination. Remember why single life rocks. Now, I've made an entire video about this topic and I'll link it up here, so have a watch. Being single is great, and no, that's not just something single people say. A lot of people who are in a relationship miss being single sometimes. Life is complex. We're not singular beings doing our own things. We're constantly affected by the decisions of others as well as our environment, and sometimes having less burden is nice. Yes, being in a relationship can sometimes bear a certain weight of problems that you would otherwise not have to deal with. After all, you're free to do what you want. You don't need to take a partner's feelings into consideration. You can go out and hook up with someone you find really attractive, as long as you're being safe, of course. You can spend every weekend doing what you want, not alternating between you and your partner's wishes. You don't need to worry about being cheated on or go through the early day panics of why are they taking so long to text back. Being single is great, and when you find the right person, you'll find ways to keep the best bits of single life alongside being in a relationship. But for now, enjoy the freedom and relaxation that being single gives you. Listen, we've all been there in a point of our lives where we feel desperate for love, as though we need a relationship to complete us. While this is normal, it's not particularly healthy and it's not very fun either. And that's where I'll leave you today. Hopefully these tips will help you take a step back and evaluate exactly what you want and how much of that is already in your life. The less desperate you are for love, the more likely you are to be open to genuine connections, and the less scared you'll be of rejecting things that aren't right for you. This is a much healthier mindset to have when it comes to looking for a partner, and means that you'll know just how great the real thing is when it comes along. And as always, if you need any help with this or just someone to chat to, reach out to one of our counsellors through the link on the description below. I promise that you'll get 100% honest advice without any preconceptions, judgment or expectations. The time you book with them will be just yours and only about you, nobody else. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.